I want to share with you a protocol that I use whenever I think I'm going to get sick. When I'm filming this, we're right in the middle of the British winter. So many people have got respiratory illness, colds, coughs, flus. There are a ton of viruses going around, including COVID. So twice this winter, I began with a sore throat and to not feel very well. And I used this protocol, and on both occasions, within 1 to 2 days, all the symptoms had gone and I never got ill. So I want to share that with you. But I have to start by saying that if you try this protocol, it needs to be at your own risk. I'm not a doctor. And if you do have, if you are on any medication, or if you have any health issues, it's very important that you check in with your doctor first. So this protocol is divided into 3 different components. One is supplements, the other is foods, and the last one is salt. I also want to say that it will depend on the state of your health. So I do have quite a robust immune system, I think, and I exercise and I eat healthily and I take tons of supplements. So already I'm working towards having quite a robust immune system, and that may not be the case with you. So you may try this protocol, it may not work for you, but I still think, I believe personally, that it will help, that it could easily shorten the length of your illness and also reduce the severity of it. So I'm going to share this with you. I'll start with the supplements. So there are 3 supplements that I'm always on that I think are very important for health. So one is magnesium, one is vitamin D3 and K2, because K2 is very protective to take with D3. Now, D3, you can buy them combined. So, I mean, I'm just holding up random bottles here. I'm not, advocating you should take this brand or anything. And in fact, I have so many different brands in my cupboard, and I'll switch it around. Sometimes I'll have this and sometimes I'll have something else. But this is a D3 and K2 combo. Now, D3 is really important for your immune system. D3 is actually very important for everything. So I'm on this anyway, and I think they have found that most people in the Western world are actually deficient in D3, either because you live in a cold climate, or if not, because you're wearing sunblock. So D3 is very important. So I would advise being on this for the whole winter. D3 and K2. Now, I take quite a high level, so I take 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3. You don't have to take it that high if you don't want to, but that's the one that I find that is most protective. Right, so I'm on that anyway. Then there is the most incredible antiviral antioxidant, and it's called quercetin. Now, I discovered this during the pandemic. I hadn't heard of it before. And I started taking it every day during the pandemic. So it's incredibly protective. It has very strong antiviral qualities. Now, I have to admit that during the winter, this is part of my regime during the winter when there are lots of bugs going around, and I will take 1 a day. However, when I think I'm coming down with something, I will change that to 2 a day. And by the way, don't worry, thinking, I can't remember everything you're saying. On the Ageless by Glynis Barber website, I'm going to do an article to go along with this, and I'm going to list absolutely everything I talk about so you can find it there. So yes, so number 1 is you've got to make sure you're on D3 and K2, and number 2 is quercetin. Then we all know about vitamin C. Now, this is something else that I think it's good to be on a daily basis. The highest recommended dose is 2,000 milligrams a day. So normally through winter, I will probably be on 1,000 milligrams a day. Very important to get a time-released one of vitamin C, because otherwise you'll just pee it out, what your body can't use. I have to admit, if I'm really fighting a virus, I might go up to 3,000 milligrams a day. Now, I just want to say that that is above the recommended dose. I mean, I don't really think it'll harm you because you pee out what the body can't use. However, if you are sensitive, it could make you a little nauseous, things like that. I personally haven't had any reaction, but I will definitely take a minimum of 2,000 a day. So one twice a day when I think I'm coming down with something. And then, zinc has some great qualities and is also very good for the immune system. So I don't always take zinc actually, but if I think I'm coming down with something, I will add 1 zinc a day to that. And then this last one is the real thing that I think helps almost more than anything. So quercetin is very powerful antiviral, but oil of oregano is unbelievable. It has, funnily enough, I first heard of oil of oregano many years ago when there was bird flu, and they were saying nothing works for it, we're all going to die, or was it the swine flu? I don't know. It was one of those things, that nearly turned into a pandemic many years ago, and there was no medication, no antibiotic that was going to help. And that was the time I stumbled across oil of oregano. So it was a good 15 years ago, and it's been in my life ever since. So this isn't something that I just take every day. I take this if I think I'm getting ill, and while I am ill, and I'll take it until I'm better. This is powerful stuff. I can't tell you how many viruses I've been saved from by this. So if I really think, when I know everybody's ill and I can see what illness they have and I don't want to get it, I will immediately go on the oregano, and I will probably take 1 3 times a day. At least twice a day, if you really want to go for it, 1 3 times a day. So those are the supplements that I recommend. The next thing is, and I've talked about this before, but I always have fresh ginger. I always have fresh ginger. So into boiling water, you thinly slice, you peel some ginger, you thinly slice it, and you let it brew for 10 minutes to really draw out all the nutrients. So it's very anti-inflammatory, a lot of good qualities in ginger. And then Manuka honey. Manuka honey is like medicine. It's extremely antibacterial, it's anti-inflammatory, it's good for your gut. And in fact, in some hospitals, they will use Manuka honey to spread onto wounds to stop infection. So this is powerful, powerful stuff. I mean, honey is protective too, but Manuka honey is a whole different ball game. So what I do is I let this seep for 10 minutes, and then I add a good teaspoon of Manuka honey. Now, you don't want to add Manuka honey to freshly boiled water because it will damage all the nutrients in it. So wait that 10 minutes or even more, and then you add that. So the moment I think I'm coming down with something, this is what I'm drinking through the day. I will drink this first thing in the morning. I'll probably have another cup at lunchtime, and then before I go to bed. So that is very powerful. And then let's just talk about salt. Salt is so healing. It also kills infection. And I found this particular product also during the pandemic. Now, I'm sure there are lots of other brands. This is the brand that I found. And I think I had a friend in Canada who was very ill. And I said, oh, you've got to, this one is called Sterimar. And I said, you've got to find a Sterimar. And they actually had come down with COVID and had a bit of a cough. And a friend went out to look for them. There was no Sterimar, but they found the equivalent. So all this is, it's a can, and you spray it, a fine mist comes out, and it's basically seawater. So it's water and salt. And as you can see, it goes like this, and you squirt it up your nose, and you just let it run out, and then you blow your nose. This stuff is incredible. So during the pandemic, my son had COVID. He didn't have it very badly, but he did have a very troublesome cough. And we just couldn't move it. And he'd had it for a good few weeks, and it hadn't got worse, but it had not got better at all. And he was so full of phlegm, and I tried to nebulize it. I mean, I tried all kinds of things, and nothing worked. And then one day I went to the pharmacist and I said, what? And they said, well, we'll try this. And it's so easy to use. And he started using it. And after 24 hours, I thought, am I imagining this? Or is it a little bit better? And it was, because after 2 days, it was clearly better. And then within a few days, I can't remember, like 5 to 7 days, his cough had gone. So this is used all the time in our house. At the first sign of a cold, you know, salt is going to get rid of any infection in your nose, and it drips down. A cough is just when you drip onto the back of your throat and it forms a cough. So this is going to really help. So I will do this at least 3 times a day when when I'm coming down with something. I just wanted to say, talking about coating your throat, the other great thing about Manuka honey is it's also very soothing if you have a cough and if you have a sore throat. So it's quite nice to put besides in the drink with ginger, it's quite nice to put a teaspoon in your mouth and just gently let it dissolve in your mouth, because it then coats your throat. So you're getting all this anti-inflammatory, antibacterial stuff directly onto your throat, and it soothes a sore throat, and it also helps to soothe a cough. Right, so this Sterimar, I cannot recommend this enough. This is absolutely amazing stuff. And then just good old salt. So I always have a big tub of sea salt, because I prefer sea salt rather than processed salt, and gargling with salt. So what I will do is I will especially before I go to bed at night, and during the day if my throat is very sore. So I will just boil some water, I'll put some into a mug, and I'll add just a little bit of cold water so that I don't scald myself. But I always think you want it as hot as possible, and then I'll add a spoon of tea salt, and then you just gargle, gargle, gargle right directly onto your throat. And it makes a huge difference. So that is it. That is what I do. And all I can tell you is that for me, this works. I mean, obviously there will be times where you can't beat it and you come down with something, but this stuff helps you to get better quicker. So I just wanted to share that, because having evaded viruses twice in the last couple of months, I thought, you know what, if this works for me, it could work for other people. So I hope you find it helpful.